Super excited to hear you guys take on the crazy AMA. Yeah, man, from what I gleaned through social networks, through Twitter, I think it was a wild one. I didn't catch most of it. Jim, did you grab that link?
Yeah, I sent it to you on Discord.
Okay, here we go. Splinter Talks. Okay, so I heard about the new summoner. General info.
Look at that, 24 minutes of Matt update. Holy cow.
Yeah. So tell me some of the Cole's notes here, Jim, because I didn't catch most of it. I heard there was a big thing with the SPS. I heard there was a great deal with land. I've gleaned stuff from Gank, from the Walking Keys, from Twitter stuff that I saw from Bulldog. Tell me, like, what are the Cole's notes? What's the important stuff that happened during this AMA?
Okay. All right. Now
You're
I
on,
gotta
my dude.
really be thinking about it, right? Because I've been talking about so many different things
for sure
recently, and it's crazy because this all happened yesterday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it is only Thursday. Okay, so I mean that's good.
Yeah.
Modern versus Wild, April. That's a big note.
The reward structure changing, which these are just like the little sub notes. If you scroll down a little bit further, like right underneath it, that's when they start getting more into the meat and potatoes of it.
Totally, but I just want to get that 30,000 foot view. New reward structure, SPS private distributions ending. Yeah, this we've known about for a while. And this is a big deal because I remember that the SPS private distributions were greater than the total SPS that was flowing out or planned to flow out once that's done. So how do I say that in a cleaner way? Maybe you already know what I'm talking about, guys, but just so in case you don't, as I understand it, there's I think it's 20 million SPS coming out a month right now because of these private distributions, but that number is supposed to go down dramatically because once that's done, yes, there'll be new SPS being released for various reasons like airdrop, like staking rewards and in-game rewards when the reward structure changes, but none of that's going to amount to the 20 million that we are giving out, as I remember them saying previously. And I don't know if that changed, but that's a good thing for probably price appreciation.
I do believe that was for only 1 year, that private distribution, roughly a year, I think. So, and I think it is also ending next month.
Yes.
So if we say it was a year, it would have been 240 million total, I believe. So, and that from our total supply of 650 million, it's not like even half, really.
So 240. So I think you're right. So 20 million times a year is 240 million, and you're saying 650. Is that what it is?
Yeah, 651 mil.
650 million minus 240 mil. 240 mil. So 410 mil remaining, still coming, but so it's greater than, but it's greater. So this is the point though. There's I'm going to trust your math here. It was 240 million in that first year for being doled out to those pre-sale purchasers. And that makes 410 left to come, 410 million, which is, to your point, bigger.
No, so this isn't even what's left to come. This is total supply that we are at right now.
Okay.
With how much was from the private sale. So it was about a third.
Gotcha.
Private sale being in the total supply.
Gotcha. And I think one of the considerations to remember, and we should look at I need to reread the SPS white paper, but I think one of the key considerations is that the remainder of the SPS that is going to be coming is over like a 5-year period, if I'm not mistaken. And and therefore it's like, even if that's a much bigger number, it's being stretched across a broader period of time. And therefore I do believe this was said in the early of 2022, when they released the SPS kind of update. They said that there would be less SPS flowing outward than is currently now. Now that might have changed, but that was in the 2022, update on SPS. So modern allows untamed dice and chaos. So modern will allow, we knew this, untamed dice and chaos. Power requirements were probably half. We figured that, but that's kind of nice to have some confirmation on. Power requirements will most likely not be changed for Wild. Okay.
That's
Yeah, that I guess that makes sense. Reward pool will be doubled due to having two different formats. Yeah, but will it? Because even if there's twice as much DEC available to be won, you can only play one. There's only like, let's say there's 400,000 daily active accounts. Help me think this thing through. Because there's 400,000 daily active accounts. Some of them are bots, lots of them are bots. Okay, put that away for now. There's 400,000 daily active accounts, and I was just looking at it earlier today. So, and there's two different leagues, and yes, the reward pool is theoretically doubled, but you only have enough. What's it called? How much the amount of capture rate? You only have enough capture rate to play one of the leagues, so it doesn't really matter if there's double the DEC theoretically available, does it?
Well, I think it actually does, because now what you're doing. So let's say it's 1 million.
Yes.
Right. Like the prize pool or the reward pool is 1 million.
Yes.
Right. Doubling it now makes it to where it's going to the 2 million total.
Yep.
But now what you're doing is taking those 400 people and cutting them in half.
I see what you're saying already. Yeah, that makes perfect sense, Jim. Thank you for helping with that. Yeah. So
it's
really
like there's 200,000 for a million.
It's like there's two pizzas, and we're now able to some of us can go over here and eat that one, and some of us can come over here and eat that one.
Cheese, some can have sausage.
Some can have cheese, and yeah, exactly, man. I like that. Cool. That is good. Awesome, Matthew Young.
Thank you.
I'm curious about those power requirements. If they are halved, I'll be in Diamond, and my deck is not ready for Diamond. Interesting. Hey, it's going to create a whole new dynamic where people are thrown into new interesting opportunities where they can maybe reach higher levels. They can conceivably play at Diamond, like Matthew's saying, but then the question is, do you have the chops for that? Do you have the power, the actual utility to compete at that level? Artisan, aren't rewards going to be bigger in Wild? Artisan, they are going to be equal in both. But then the question is, how many people are playing in pool 1 versus pool 2, like Wild versus Modern? If 99% of people, and this probably won't happen, but just if 99% of people played in Modern, that would mean there would be a small proportion of people that were actually extracting value from the Wild format. And that would translate to greater DEC payouts for the Wild League, which might ultimately then because these things are economic in nature. Think about the economic pressure that would create. It would draw attention to the Wild format and create people. It would be on Twitter and YouTube, and people would be saying like how much more you can make in Modern, and that would draw more players over into the Wild, which would very quickly, I think, neutralize that any significant price differential or income differential. Jim, what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's why I told them yes and no. Yeah. It's going to be bigger in Wild, but it's Stever said this a while ago as well. It's like wherever the money is, bots are also going to follow there.
Yeah, that's true.
It's going to equal out, even if it's like 45% to 55%, or like 51 to 49. It's going to be relatively equal.
I agree. And it's quite flexible. Like sometimes even now you'll play the game and the rewards on a given day will be higher. And then tomorrow it'll be significantly lower. That flexibility is a product of how the algorithm works, and a product of how many people are playing and the price of DEC and so on. That sort of fluctuation will still exist, but Jim's right. It'll, to some extent, there'll be an ebb and a flow where maybe Wild's better today and maybe Modern's better tomorrow. But I think that I do one interesting note I will draw from that, and I've said it before, but maybe you haven't all heard it. I think this is an important note. Think about this. If most people are thinking to themselves, I don't have old cards. I won't play in wild. I won't be able to compete in wild. It'll be easy. And in addition, it'll be easier to compete in modern. The power requirements are lower. All this thinking seems to be pervasive, and that might translate to initially more people trying their hand at modern. And that, and then that initial spike or differential in rewards, even if it is only for the first day or first couple of days, I think that might translate into a renewed or like a brand new interest in modern players exploring what it might look like to build out a wild deck. Because I believe that there's a good amount of people who are totally ignoring some of the best beta and old reward cards. And what would that mean to then those, because remember how rare those are, what would that mean for their prices if suddenly people were like, wait a second, I could compete in wild and these rewards are really good, and why don't I want like maybe one copy of like this card or that, because it really could move the needle.
Mushroom Seer.
Yeah, Mushroom Seer. The green, I'm thinking specifically of green and the Earth Team, and the Mushroom Seer, yes, even though it's about $25, and then also that healer, so good, and they're both magic monsters.
Goblin something.
No, hang on a second here. Grid, beta, promo reward, regular. So just look at think you could bring Obsidian into you could bring Obsidian right into the wild. So then anything that's got magic, Wood Nymph is the one I was thinking of, but anything that's got magic is going to be absolutely powerful. And then this one is super great because of the silence. So good. And Shaman, this is a very powerful card, especially with the at low levels. It comes out the gate with the Divine Shield. Yeah, wow. $9 isn't cheap, but throw an extra magic on there for Obsidian, not a bad little card. So, yeah, man, I think some people, these cards are already quite expensive, but remember how rare these are. That's part. Yes, they're cheap, they're expensive because they're rare now. But then if what I'm describing to you sounds legitimate or plausible, then I think that could cause that sort of a little bit of a wave in terms of at least a short-term spike in some of these prices because of that sudden recognition by maybe 20,000 or 10,000 players. Like, wow, I could actually go into wild and maybe I would only need a couple cards.
One thing as well is that one thing we've learned from these last few months of having Chaos Legion inside versus the beta cards as well. Mm-hmm. It's like they're also very powerful, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like you're getting completely destroyed if you're using nothing but Chaos Legion cards, right?
Totally.
Like they are also making very powerful cards. So you could even take the stuff you have and still play in wild.
I totally agree. Yeah. The only limitation is going to be that collection power because there's so much less. And even that can be okay. You can still make, as we're already doing. Some of you guys are playing in gold now and you're almost exclusively running chaos cards. Well, that means you accumulated 100,000+. So, I mean, it's possible. But maybe that's the biggest hurdle for you.
Yeah.
Let's see. Reward changes. Solution is to build the economy in a way to incentivize active players and encourage card ownership. Yeah, I heard about this. So there's going to be, this is a big deal, right? Like there was, let's scroll down and find the details on this reward change.
Yeah, it's actually right underneath it. Go back up.
Land, reward change. So, just this stuff?
Yeah, it's going to be all of that stuff. Right
okay.
There.
So starter cards. Okay, here. Yeah, right there. Starter cards will begin to reduce the amount of rewards you earn. Yes, I heard about this. Yeah, I saw this on Twitter. So, and then I saw you actually, Jim, talking with the other Splinter tubers about this issue in Discord, and Stever was covering it quite well. He was saying if you play 5 of them, if you play 5 owned cards and one non-owned card, it'll reduce your earning, but not eliminate it. And so it's like this proportion thing, which is great, I think. I mean, what do you think about? Am I missing something there? It feels to me like that's a great solution because we've got a problem with bots, don't we?
I think it's a really good idea. And sure, it's like bad for the players that, don't put a lot of money into it, but I mean, they honestly should. And I
Mm-hmm.
understand if you can't, but like find a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know what to tell you. It's just going to take now longer.
Yeah. Or even just, and like, I agree with what you just said. And I have always echoed that sentiment because that's something we keep going back to, where people think, they keep asking, like, how do I do this on a budget? How do I do this without investing? You absolutely, like, you spend $10 in this game and you can change your life financially. But what timeline are you talking about? Like, are you willing to wait, 4 years and play it every day with a lot of your time? And, probably you're going to need to get a little lucky with some of your card draws. And, then when you do get lucky with a gold foil, Oceanus or something like that, which is possible, even at bronze, then you sell that and you play the market wisely. And so there's a level of intelligence and strategy that if you brought to this game, as in addition to just commitment of time, that you would be able to extract a meaningful reward. And then what's meaningful really? If in 4 years your bronze account turned in like $5,000, would that change your life? Maybe it would for some people. Probably lots of the Western world that'd be cool, but it wouldn't change your life. But in a place where you're living off of $2 a day, that could be really crazy for a video game that you were having fun with anyway, just in addition to whatever you did on a day. And so I strongly advocate and believe that you can make significant sum with this game without putting a lot of money into it. But then you necessarily have to commit more of your time, and you need to be more strategic, and there needs to be a degree of luck involved. And then I like to think that this game is so strong and the development is so promising that it makes some sense to then bring money to the table also. So it's like, as far as I'm concerned, yes, there should be this is an investment that's worth consideration. And if we're talking about, people, what we're probably talking about is mostly bronze level accounts that have no cards and don't want to buy any. Well, I mean, you're not even willing to buy probably $20 worth of cards, because what are those low level of cards? The starter pack is going to be, I would bet the starter pack would be like $100 at most to have every card in the starter pack, I would think, because you're talking commons and rares, no epics, no legendaries, and all you need is one BCX of each. Like that, I bet it's $50. I don't know, but I bet it is.
Or just the Chaos Legion beginner cards, the commons and rares.
Yes.
And same thing with the summoners. It's about $20.
Yeah. Yeah, man. See.
For one BCX.
Yeah. So, I mean, that seems very reasonable to me. And I hope that's not pushing people away. I think if anything, it's going to push away certain people that everyone has complained about for the last 8 months, almost nonstop. Right? It's been always like these bots and they're stealing our, and then when they implemented those changes to the economy to try and deter bots, there was complaints around that. But all of this stuff has really been geared toward trying to solve this issue, and it seems like this is a good solution. New reward system will have different tiers of reward chests. All leagues can earn a significant number of chests. Oh yeah, I heard about that too. That's really great. So they'll multiply the number of chests, so it's like a more satisfying experience at each of the reward times.
One thing I did actually want to go over real quick. So I just did a little bit of math, and picking up all of the commons and rare BCX ones of Chaos Legion gets you 465 collection power. Cool. So if they're cutting it in half, like, you're almost instantly able to go to bronze 2.
Yeah.
Once the modern format comes out and it gets cut in half, you're almost instantly able to go there and start earning DEC per win for $20.
And you figure it's $20?
Yep.
That's great to know, man.
If it is that. I didn't look that far up yet, but
I mean, it'd be one of every card from common and rare from the chaos, and I think you'd be in that ballpark because I think most of those cards are about 3 to 30 cents, I would think.
Yeah.
And there's probably 15. There's probably 15 from every.
It goes about $1.
So there's 15 from every splinter, I'm going to guess. Maybe there's 20. There's 20 from every splinter times green, white. Is there 6 splinters? 6, right?
Well, kind of.
Because dragon.
Well, we're not counting dragon, but you got to get the neutrals.
Yeah. So okay. So I'm going to call it 100. Maybe there's 100 cards that you would need to buy from, and maybe you're skipping some, but that's a pretty good portfolio of cards. From the common and rare, and they're probably, I'm going to say 20 cents each on average, 20 cents each. So yeah, like $20 ish. And some of them are $1. Maybe you take a pass on that, but yeah, man, that's very, very reasonable.
There are 42 common rares from Chaos Legion.
Okay. And that's it?
Yep.
Holy cow. That's way less than I thought it would be. That's just commons or rares also?
Commons and rares.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, it would be, I really do think that you'd get into it for not much at all. That'd be great.
Each color has 4 or 5 commons.
Yeah, man. Very affordable.
Yep.
Okay. The new reward system will have you different tiers reward chests. I like that. Plan on release.
It says $24 for Chaos Legion starter deck.
Nice. There you go. Maybe I don't know if that's too much for somebody. I just don't know what to say to that because I mean, games cost something, and
like if it is, then the game's probably not for them.
Yeah. Honestly, that's probably true. Plan on releasing 10 new reward cards in the mix as well. Did they say specifically when that 10 new reward cards were going to come? Should include.
I don't believe so now.
It should include a new ability that also be seen in the Rift Watchers. Awesome.
Awesome.
Expanding in-game market. Team is developing an entire new framework for the in-game market. That's a good idea because their in-game market is lacking. And that's why we love Peak Monsters. Jarvie, shout out Jarvie.
Yeah.
Will be more friendly, user-friendly. Good. Will allow for non-card assets to be bought and sold. That's great. Land, titles, totem. That's awesome because it's a nuisance to have to deal with Hive Engine. Was there anything?
Real quick, I don't know a whole lot about what's going on with the validator nodes. We just know that there's going to be some free running things. So people will just be able to allow it to run on their computer if they want, or on a server network that they have, or run it through Amazon, whatever it is that they do. But most of those will not be getting rewards. It's the people who are actually pay for the license to get it, and when they run it, they want you to run it all day. So that's how you're going to get rewards for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, SPS validators are basically building their own blockchain platform. So they'll be running it, and all transactions are kind of are being, I guess, run through the code that's on the computer you're having your household, or that you're running through some server wherever you're using that, maybe a decentralized server, and then the program is validating the actions are true, and then I guess committing it to the blockchain and planning to allow people to buy licenses to run nodes.
That right there is what Gala Games does, and they even specifically stated that they like that.
2 ways to earn rewards: split reward pools, be voted to the top SPS validator, or purchase license. This is really cool. I feel like if somebody like Bulldog had the interest and wherewithal to figure this out, you know what I mean? Like the community would get behind him, and it probably me too. I honestly believe you guys would support me in that way if I could figure it out. But truth is, I just don't know how I would take care of that. I don't have the space here. I know I could buy a server, you could rent, you can get the stuff through the cloud kind of thing, but that can be problematic. I don't know that that's in my future, but it would be cool to see some sort of community member that we all love to see and support. How awesome would that be if we could have their voice be representing us? I would definitely throw my SPS as remember, we're going to be able to, like they say, we can be voted to the top. So that's going to be us SPS holders saying, I want, Dwayne, or I want like whoever that was that candidate. And like I say, I won't be putting my name forward, but that'd be really neat to see.
I want Stever to be
totally
top validator.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That dude, like there are times where I'm talking to him or listening to him, I'm like, this dude is so brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. Oh, look at this. Licenses will be NFTs and will be tradable. That's rad.
Yeah, that's the same thing that Gala does.
That's rad.
And dude, I was able to. So when I first got into Splinterlands, it was like I was looking into Gala Games stuff as well, and I could have bought in one of the nodes, but I was like, but I want to play a game, so I went into Splinterlands, and now that thing is. I could have got it at like $8,000, and now it's sitting at around 60 grand. I'm like, oh my god!
I fully believe that'll happen with Splinterlands too. That's like almost interesting that you could buy one of the rights to be that validator and only just to flip it, and that'd be something I'd be interested in exploring. I don't know, maybe there'd be an expectation. I wouldn't want to put them in a bad spot by buying it just to like hold that, you know what I mean? So if that was a problem, I that would totally take away any of my interest. But if there was some way that wasn't a problem, I'd be interested in thinking about that. We'll get back to maybe just a lot of things here, man. Big chat tonight. Thank you guys. I better get back to Chuni's question. What was the 35? So I heard, discussion in Mouth Chat about the bots, and based on the airdrop numbers of published, that were published by Mansour, the number of real accounts is around 35,000. Sounds like room for growth and opportunity. So, okay. So Jim, did you hear about this?
I did not, but that number seems ridiculously low.
I agree, but here's what this came from. Now I didn't know it was from Mansour. That's cool. I had heard it from, I want to say from Aftersound, I think. It was, through Twitter. It was like somebody's mentioned it or something. I can't even remember where, but if it's Mansour originally, I want to give credit to Mansour. So I can't say I know, but either way, the implication or the assumption was that there were only 35,000 accounts that were eligible for airdrops, for any airdrops from Chaos Legion. And so that means that only 35,000 accounts bought one pack or more, right? Like it does feel like that's telling us something. You know what I mean? It might not be fully true that is necessarily, therefore there are only 35,000 humans playing the game. I don't go that far. But there's certainly, it's worth discussing, because that must be indicating, and here's an interesting addition to that. I have 2 accounts that I bought Chaos Legion packs on, and I have friends who have 2 accounts that they've separately bought Chaos Legion packs on both. And so that's happening too. So maybe it's even less, you might argue, but here's the deal. Chaos Legion, here's the other side of the coin. Chaos Legion cards have gotten so cheap, cards, that there's a whole group of people that won't even consider buying a pack because they don't really think they're going to get any meaningful airdrops. So why am I going to buy 1 pack or 5 packs or 10? I don't really expect to get the airdrop. I know the guaranteed drop rates are 500, 600 packs. So there's probably lots of living people out there that aren't doing that because they don't even think it's going to be productive. They don't think it's going to give you a meaningful opportunity. And they know when they come in here and they see some of these card prices, these are the legendaries, but these are really, really cheap. And so people are coming in and spending their money in this way. I think that's a very big, it's hard to quantify, but I think it's a very big consideration that you need to bring to that conversation, Chuni. And I would argue there is way more than 35,000 people playing this game, but maybe 50,000 are just not interested in Chaos Legion packs Is that possible, Jim? Am I being like, would push back on me if you feel like if there needs to be pushback there? Help me think this thing through.
I mean, honestly, it's so hard to say because it's like, the number itself seems ridiculously low to me. But like you're saying, if it's the people that are getting any source of airdrop, because it's what you need like 12,000 power to get 1 SPS, and then it goes to the 1,000th place. So you literally need to have like 11 points to get something, 100 points to get something.
I think you lost me there. 100 points. What do you mean?
For the airdrop.
Oh, I see. The airdrops to get like an airdrop from like not the SPS airdrops though. That's the thing. Like we're talking like on the where is it? So on shop on these airdrops from the card. Oh. So like there was only 35,000 accounts that were eligible to receive Carnage Titan. And that means that it implies that there are 35,000 humans that bought packs on their respective accounts. But again, I don't really buy that because I think there's a good amount of people that are out there that haven't bought a single pack. Do you think that's plausible?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like, I mean, when we talk about how many people out there are like upset about the changes that they've done to bronze and like planning on, those people are not heavily invested into this game. The fact that you need 500 packs, so what, $2,000? $2,000 in order to get one of those, like the ones that were at 500.
Yeah.
They aren't even close.
Yeah.
I thought we were talking about the SPS airdrop. I'm like, what do you mean people don't have 12 points somehow?
Yeah, from this perspective on the cards, it's an interesting piece of information because it is data. It is there. That is true. 35,000 accounts were eligible for this airdrop. That's meaningful and it tells us something, but I don't believe it's the whole story. And I think, I don't know if you want to say I'm overshooting it, Chun, and maybe I'm implying that there's too many people out there that really exist but aren't buying packs. I don't know how to quantify that, but I feel that there are at least thousands of people that haven't, and I actually believe tens of thousands. I would think 50,000 is probably not far off. I think it's conceivable that 50,000 accounts exist that have not bought a single pack, and yet are they really are people, and they like this game, and maybe they're buying other things. Maybe they're buying individual cards. Maybe they're buying SPS or whatever. I think it's possible. And, this is still consistent. Again, are these bots? It's hard to say, man. It's really, really hard to say. But 400,000 daily active users on average.
King Matt also brings up a good point. There's also third-party markets that you can buy the packs from, which if people know that they're not going to get the airdrop card, they're most likely just going to want to save the extra $1.
That's a great point too. Especially, right? Like if you're like, yeah, I totally agree. If you're buying 1 pack, 5 packs, 10 packs, why throw away that $1? You're not going to get the airdrop, you figure. Yeah.
I tell people this too. I'm like, if you're not looking to buy a lot of packs or even a good amount of packs to give you a decent chance at getting it, you're better off spending it on cards instantly. You're way better spending it on cards to make your deck better.
Especially because cards are so precise. Like think of your deck in this game. Like I like to think of it, for some reason, I think of it like a ship, and my ship has certain holes in it. Those holes are a problem for me, and they will produce defeat if I don't seal some of them to like let me do my thing. And that's just the metaphor I've always thought about. But you can go and you can patch some of those holes by being very careful and selective about how you spend your money, coming into the marketplace and saying, okay, I need for my death splinter, I need like a decent tank with a good amount of hit points. Okay, then you don't want to go buy a pack hoping you get a Cursed Wendigo. You want to come in here and just buy a Cursed Wendigo for $1. And then, this is $1, and you could conceivably go buy a $4 pack or $3 pack on Hive Engine, and maybe you get a Cursed Wendigo, and maybe you get a gold foil legendary, which would be crazy. That's possible, but it would be, it's unlikely. And that's kind of the gambler's mindset where that could happen. But most people, I think, are more prudent than that, where they're like, no, this is a hole in my ship. If I can write this thing, it's going to move the needle and I'm going to win more. And that's going to let me have more fun, let me get more dailies, let me get more season rewards, and so on and so forth. Okay, I think we should wrap there, my dude.